Awesome. Let's do it.
You are live.
I love it. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday, everybody. We're so excited. We're coming back from our convention of champions, and it was phenomenal. It was the ultimate flex. It really was very special. Whenever you go look at what took place at our event, just to show you just a couple of things, real quick, in terms of how committed that we are to this side of the house, which is making sure that we go through the. Let me pull this up in a. This should. Look at this, guys. This is the Convention of Champions agenda, and I just want you to look at this about our product providers. We had the great product pavilion where we went over, football field long, um, room full of people that support us, that are six-figure earners, that are just dedicated to helping us. And then that Tuesday morning, the heads of all those companies got up and went through bam, 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 just what they do. And I loved it so much. Here are the product providers on the left. And it was so awesome to have these guys. And I want to show you one piece here. These are some bombshells, but I'm going to skip past this. I want you to see this slide. This is awesome. And it was in your packet. We have it digital wise, obviously, here. If you want to get that, we can get this to you. You can reach out to Krana. But this is all of our main product providers with, I love it, the product provider pulse, but then goes over and tells in a little synopsis what each one of those companies do. Very cool. So make sure you take a picture of this, and that you have it and use it, and all those, so that you can go use the tools that we have. So understand the power and the support system that we have. And one of the high points, if you understand building a business, because the only business that pays is a business that stays. And one of the high points of the event was Tim O'Rourke. He always is great to us, but he did a great job. And Kimberly and I both felt strongly that he needed to go over his part here. And so all of you, make sure you got your business hat on, which you should be wearing that on Wednesdays anyway. So Tim, I'm going to turn it over to you, and it's going to be a little bit of a different side today. It's going to be a little bit about the market, but also about really how to go run your own business. So you need to come in from day one, understanding that you run your business, and that you, as I would say, or Rich Stolley would say, that you pull your own little red wagon. So, Tim, we look forward to hearing from you, buddy.
There we go. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. So I'll start off real quick, give you a quick update on the market because there's a lot going on. Then I'll go into a little bit of my spiel on what I talked about at the Convention of Champions. So the leading story right now is the U.S. is continuing to attack Iran because they're not negotiating and they're attacking ships still in the Strait. So that's sending oil prices, as you can see now, and oil at the pump, gasoline at the pump now is over $4 a gallon. So this has caused a lot of concern with obviously inflation again. So what's happened is WTI's this morning anyway back over $86 a barrel. Brent, which is which is over in England, in North Sea over there, is over $93 a barrel. So you can imagine the shipping in the Strait is now at a snail's crawl. So we're seeing that kind of having a disturbance. We're in full swing of earnings season again, and so lately we've seen a pretty good turnout actually in the earnings season, with most of I think there were 66 companies reporting as of last night, and somewhere around 80% of them reporting very positively. So that's been a good thing. But the backdrop with the U.S. and Iran war again, and still, the Ukraine war now is over 4 years. That's still going on, and so there's a lot of things going on in the world that there's risk out there in the markets. So there's there's a lot of concern over there the Fed is meeting next week, the July 28th through the 29th. And so there's some interpretation there that there's a below 50% chance is the way I would frame it right now that the Federal Reserve is going to increase the Fed funds by 25 basis points. I think it's less than that at this point. You know, they don't want to increase interest rates at this point, is my take. So I think it's going to be sit on your hands kind of thing. Today, we've got some big companies reporting, IBM, Tesla, Texas Instruments, and let's see, what's the other? Oh, Alphabet. So I think you're going to see, you know, positive earnings coming out of that, which could turn the market around. It started off low in the red today. Let me take a quick glance. It's turned around. It's positive. Dow's up. S&P is up. NASDAQ is still off a little bit. So it's actually the market is down slightly with what's going on over there with the U.S.-Iran conflict. But investors, you know, if you think about what's going on the world stage right now, it's really interesting to watch. We've got, you know, obviously that conflict in the Middle East. You got Ukraine war. You got rising oil prices. You got all of this going on, inflation, tariffs. You know, Trump has still got tariffs going on, 50% in some countries, 37.5%, 20%, pretty much 20% across the board. We're seeing tariffs. So that's a tax. I mean, I don't care. You call it whatever you want, but that's still a tax. So when you have all of this kind of backdrop, and then we're in earnings season, ultimately the U.S. will have a correction. As I've been saying now, I mean, we're long overdue. You know, these cycles usually run in 7 to 10 year cycles. And this correction will happen at some point, but it's building up to such a bubble. We've had huge bubbles in the past. I remember the bubble back in it was the end of the 70s. Some of you probably weren't even born back then, but the bubble happened at the right around the 78, 80 range. Another one at the oil embargo back in 74, 75. And then another one around 88, 90, there was a bubble. Then the dot-com bubble, the internet bubble. I mean, you have bubbles because markets overinvest, right? Everybody wants to get in. And that's what's happening right now that we're seeing with AI. So there will be a big correction at some point. That's just the way things happen. You know, ultimately, earnings drive the market, as I've always said, and the U.S. will have a correction, but we'll see how this plays out. I'm going to get into, and Kimberly, if you could give me control over putting up my PowerPoint presentation, that would be helpful.
You should be all set.
Okay, great. What I'd like to do is, oh, there we go. Perfect. What I'd like to do is also next week talk about index investing and how that all works, because I think index investing has done a lot for investors, and also as passive investing. That's what index investing is. But anyway, I'm going to get into that next week, and we're going to talk a lot about that.
Hey,
So,
Tim, real quick, while you just mentioned in that,
yeah,
next week also, we are going to have on Alex Savarese with some big bombshell announcements on a Nexus's product. Now, Kimberly's going to talk a little bit about it in a few minutes. He's going to go into it in depth. So next week, Tim's going to talk about indexing, and Alex is going to hit you hard with the other. So I just wanted to mention that while you said that.
awesome. So what I want to talk about here is what I did at the convention. Is one of the most important things we do as financial experts is to talk about with our clients as a financial needs analysis. It's really our foundational tool. It's the most important thing we have, that we can sit down with somebody, go over their their financial profile, what exactly they have in investments, how much money they make. We've created this in the back office for you to use to have a basic document to go through. So it's a reminder of you to have a conversation with your client. And this is so important. This is a foundational tool that you must use with every one of your clients. Now, a lot of people for years have used a notepad, basically a pad of paper and a pen, and sat down and had a conversation, wrote down notes. The reason we developed this online, or even if you have a paper copy that you can get through the back office through Aristotle, is that you have something you can take notes on, write down, get to know the client, find out how many kids they have, what their college needs are. You learn a lot about people. And also it's a documentation of why you make a recommendation. It also gives you the ability to not underinsure, not overinsure, and also it's instead of trying to be a salesperson, it gives you the ability to really hone in on exactly what you're selling and why you're doing it. And the most important aspect of this tool is to keep a copy. I can tell you, I've had dozens of complaints over the last few years that clients somehow want to, complain against why you made a recommendation. And it always comes back, did you keep a copy of the financial needs analysis? In every case they've kept a copy, I'm 100% guaranteed I can get you out of any kind of problem, because that's the tool that they have given you the information of why you make a recommendation, why you did what you did, why the product matches their needs. So if there's ever any kind of dispute, any kind of issue, that's why we document these kind of things. It protects you, protects the client, protects HCI. Everybody's happy with that kind of thing. The other thing I want to emphasize always is that no matter what you're doing in this business, anything can be recorded and traced. So your phone, your computer, the client's devices, anytime you call into somebody, if you call into an insurance carrier, they know your location by your IP address. They know your phone number. They can trace where you are in your state. They can trace everything you say. They're recording everything. I've had a couple agents actually call in, try to impersonate, an agent. A client. They impersonate a client. I said, well, why would you do that? Well, the client wanted to get some information. They didn't have time, or they didn't speak good English. I said, well, you can't do that. You can't impersonate somebody. You're an agent of the insurance company. That's your role. You're supposed to be honest. You can't do that. So everything you say must be 100% accurate, and you must be honest at all times. And so just remember that that's a very important thing. So never impersonate a client. Never, 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 under any circumstance. Never impersonate anybody. No exceptions. So there's a rule in our industry called know your customer. So what this responsibility as an agent says that you must establish where they live, get a copy of their driver's license or some kind of identifiable documentation. You must complete the application that you take, whether it's annuity, insurance application of some sort. Gather all their financial information. You represent the insurance company itself. So let's say you're selling a product of Nationwide. You are an extension of the insurance company. You are an agent of Nationwide in that particular case. You represent Nationwide first and foremost. Not your number one priority is to get the information that Nationwide has on that application and make sure you gather all the information you can. That means if you're taking any kind of medical information, you got to find out every piece of information you can. If they had any medical problems, any heart problems, any cancer, anything you can gather If they later find out, if the insurance carrier or the underwriter finds out something that you didn't get, they're going to come back and ask you why you didn't get that. That's your responsibility as the agent of the insurance carrier. So I emphasize this because this is the most important thing. This is the rule, the law in our industry of KYC, know your customer. I bring up cross-border sales because this is a tricky area. This happens a lot of times in the state of New York, but other states as well. Sometimes products that we represent aren't licensed in a particular state, so they think that they can be sold if you cross border. You know, let's say you're in New York and you want to sell a product like a nationwide product in New Jersey, they have to cross over in New Jersey to buy this product. This is a very tricky situation because you cannot communicate to anybody at all in any form through a cell phone, through a computer. You can't try to sell somebody who's physically in New York. They have to be in New Jersey, in Massachusetts. Everything has to be conducted in that state. These are very tricky things. If the state finds out that you had any kind of video call, phone call, text, anything with that client while they are physically in the state of New York, then they can go after you. They can fine you. They can take your license from you. All kinds of things can happen. They have geolocation data that they can actually locate your, go after your phone company and find those kind of things. So if you have an opportunity for our cross-border sale, please contact me or my office, and we can walk you through how exactly to do it in the right way so that nobody gets in any trouble. So the policy delivery and the carrier emails, I want to touch on these two things. That policy delivery is probably one of the more important things. Once the policy has been approved, your application has been approved by, let's say, Corebridge or somebody or another company, you want to make sure that that is your number one priority, to get that delivered and get a copy or proof of delivery of some sort. And that protects everybody. That protects you, the client, and us, that you get a copy. And this is your chance to meet with the client, explain exactly, reinforce what they bought so that they're comfortable. And sometimes there's a gap in when you first met them and when you get the policy. So deliver the policy immediately upon approval and get some kind of proof of delivery. That's very important. And a lot of time carriers will email you or sometimes call you. And I've had some of the agents out there not respond immediately. They'll be traveling. They don't get back. And anytime a carrier contacts you, it's usually very important. Somebody from underwriting, somebody from the compliance department. If you hear from a carrier, it's usually something of urgency. So please contact them immediately. If it's anything to do with compliance, contact me. I think that's something that you need to do immediately. Back to the application. I can't stress this enough. This is your duty to get it right. Everything on that application must be filled out, and you must make sure that you got all the information. This is probably one of the areas that we see problems come up, and E&O claims can come out of it. There could be claims against your license that could arise out of this. So make sure that any information you put on an application is 100% accurate. Know what life insurance is and what it isn't. It's not a savings account. You can't represent it as a retirement account, investment account, any of these kind of things. It can't replace a 401k. It's not anything else. What life insurance is, it simply is it's designed to protect people and their family in case something happens to them, right? And it protects their long-term financial goals. It replaces money that people would earn if they weren't there. It's a transfer of risk. It's designed to create liquidity in a situation where somebody may pass away. That's what life insurance is. So don't represent it as a retirement account, as a savings account, or anything else. It's not any of those things. So make sure if you ever have to respond, this is one of the things I help our agents with, is if they respond to a compliance department or a state compliance department, that we have to respond in the right way of why did you make a recommendation? Well, we did it as a transfer of risk strategy designed to create liquidity for the family, these kind of things. So this is very important to remember. The field trainer, if you are a field trainer out there, the field trainer relationship is probably one of the most important things in HCI. This is an opportunity to build a relationship with the new people coming on, as you recruit people. It's a time to build a relationship, teach them not only the sales process, but also the recruiting process, to get them to be a recruiter right away. This is how our internal consumption system works. Get them recruiting immediately. This is how you build multiple teams and build wide and deep. Is the field trainer teaches sales, recruiting, and also instills these 10 things I'm talking about today about compliance. Because if you build a good compliance basis out here, you're not going to have any problems in your team, and you're going to be able to build quicker and faster. So this is why these 10 principles are basically the foundation of building fast, building quick, and building speed at HCI. So there you have it. Boom. Back to you, Jody. I did my. That was a quick slideshow, actually.
It was awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you. And guys, I love that. Makes me feel so good to know that that's the business side. We have, Tim helping us, guiding us through it. I think the biggest thing that I take away from that is that if you have any questions, you ask.
Yeah.
You ask. Obviously your upline, but then you make sure if you have to, you go to Tim if you need to email him.
Yeah, I'm here to help. I talk with a lot of agents who have questions about compliance. So they get a call from an insurance carrier they get a complaint direct from a client sometime that was bought a product 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And so I jump in and I help. That's what I do a lot here.
Jody, I just want to say something. I think 3 things, right? I think the always take an F&A, even if it's a simple F&A, always take an F&A so you can show that you know your client. Yep. I think 2 is always keep good records. And 3 is if you get in trouble, call Tim, right? I want to say something about keeping
Sal.
Call Sal, right? It's called TIM. I want to say something about record storage. I'm sure everyone has their own way of doing things. Most of us are at least old enough to remember when every office had filing cabinets in it, and you had the manila folders and, the hanging folders, and, that's where everything went. Well, that isn't that way anymore. So a lot of times we get lost in our digital world, or we have paper stacked everywhere, something like that. I personally use Dropbox. You can use Dropbox, you can use OneDrive, something like that. And I use it like an online filing system. So if Crenna was my client, I would have a file in my Dropbox that said Crenna. And inside that file, if we did a life insurance policy, I would have the life insurance policy that said, North American 20-year term, 500,000 labeled in there. If I did a rollover for her, that would be in there too. And I would label those kind of inside her folder. And, I think anything like that, when you have annual reviews with your clients, when they call you, when you have, confirmations, use that as your storage box. And if you get in the habit of doing it as it comes in, it won't be so overwhelming. But trust me, from years of experience, if you let it pile up, and now it's digital, so it might not even pile up, it's too hard to come back over. So just make good habits when you start. If you haven't made good habits, start today making good habits. But keep those records, because those records, if needed, are what Tim can use to protect you. But it's also how you're a good agent, right? It's also when somebody calls and says, hey, remind me, and you go, where did that money come from? I don't know. Let me look. Oh, it came from these 3 rollovers, because you've got it all documented in their file. It's just easy. You got to send in paperwork for the carriers anyway. So just put it in your own folder too. So that's my little PSA.
Yeah, know your client. That also backs up know your client.
I love it.
Can
All
you
right,
tell me
guys.
one short question?
Yes, Caesar.
Google Drive is that a good place to
I
keep
think
it,
it's
or
fun. Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox. I think any of those, wherever you can have a secure online storage space for your records that nobody else has access to. You can still use a paper filing cabinet too if you want to, but nobody really does that anymore. But the other good thing about it is Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox. You also can access it on your phone. So if you're somewhere and somebody has a question, pull it up. You got it right there at your fingertips. So
awesome? Thank you.
Thank you, Caesar. All right, guys. Now, Kimberly, why don't you take a second to talk about the Nexus announcement?
yeah, so exciting, big deal. We can't illustrate it yet. I was looking just a few minutes ago, but you know that we all love the nationwide Annexus New Heights annuity, right? For income. If a client is looking for income, typically that's the highest producing income annuity in the industry right now. And I don't remember her name, but the blonde lady from Annexus, Jody can pop on and tell us, but she's the head boss. She was like, and if it isn't, then let me know and we'll make it that way. We'll win. We will beat them. I will not be outdone. Which I thought was funny. But ultimately, it has a 30% bonus on the income and a 9.5% compounding every single year to 10 years or 12 years, I'm sorry, depending on your state, but 12 years for most states. They're changing that effective August 1st, which we'll talk about what that means in a second, to 10% roll up every single year for 12 years. So it will be a 30% bonus. And then every single year you'll get a 10% credit on your income base to roll that up, which means your client's going to have higher guaranteed income over that 12-year period of time, which is huge. It's a big deal. It also means that if you have a client that you're working with right now and you haven't written the application, if you write it on August 1st, you will lock in that new bump for your client. So just know that.
Awesome. And we will have, like I said, Alex Severies, who, is the head honcho there, will be with us next Wednesday on this call. So let's beef it up, have a big crowd. So now let's talk just real quick about the great announcements from Integrity. It was some cool things there, weren't there, Kimberly?
Yeah, there's some great things there. Huge recruiting pieces too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you have those slides, Jody?
I got them ready right here. Here we go. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, but do it. Yeah, perfect.
Well, guys, couple of things is that first and foremost, and this, I would encourage you guys to be on any Tuesday night call you can in terms of the training. I know there's different legs and different teams, but man, we're laying it out there. Last night we had a great training, but next week we're going to be going into compensation in some heavy detail. So if you want to hear that, have your team hear it, that'll be Tuesday night. The reason I bring that up is because obviously the exclamation point of the event was Aki Rupani's managing partner contract that took place. And speaking of with what Tim was talking about, I would admonish you from throwing out the actual number you think that he got. This is important, okay? I just he got a lot of money, and if you know how to figure out what he made times what they probably gave him and get half of that, you could come within a reasonable guess of what you think he got, but it's just not necessary. He just got, if you want to say he got tens of millions of dollars, you could say that, something along those lines, or he got a lot of money but stay away from giving quotes or, to that, especially being on record with that. So anything where, and this is true in a product, when you do guarantees or forecasts, you're going to get yourself in trouble. When you do that with equity, you really get yourself in trouble. And if you do that on this case, there's just no need to do it. I mean, it was a big thing, so I want to make that point, and I'll go into more detail about that on Tuesday night. Now, having said that, the other thing that I think is incredible was just the bigness of what Integrity brings to the game. I mean, being part of something that's that enormous, it's like it's its own ecosphere, it's its own economy. It's just massive. And to hear Brian Adams lay out his vision and what they're all about is just phenomenal. And so part of that was two things. One was the opportunity to be able to get health insurance at a group rate, which is exciting. But also, there's some specifics, that this being one of them, that there were several things that by being part of Integrity, and once you got to opt in on this Integrity Connect to become part of that. So make sure that you do that. All of you received emails on that. And we'll make sure we go into detail about that next week, how to do that in detail. But once you're in there, you get up to 35% discount on car rentals with Enterprise. You get 50% off supplies at Staples, 40% off of electronics at Amazon. I hope my wife has not heard this one because I've already got them there all the time. 20% select devices and accessories at AT&T. And getting into the health plan talks a little bit about that. That I want to talk about what Kimberly said a minute ago. These are incredible recruiting tools above all else. Now, I can tell you that we're working on putting in a new slide into the BOP to basically let somebody know, hey, when you go into business, first of all, somebody becoming an entrepreneur in general has great tax benefits. Someone becoming one with us gets a little extra tax benefits. So we want to really lean into why you need to be an entrepreneur. What are some of the things that come with it? And then on top of what you get just by being an entrepreneur, what are the things that you get by being part of Integrity? And these things are fantastic. These are value add. It also allows you to get 50% off of what E&O in most cases. And so it's very exciting, these tools, and I'm very excited about the concept of it. So when you take the combination of their technology, which is Integrity Connect, with what Mauricio has put together, it's thermonuclear. There's no overlap, there's no rub. It's totally two different worlds. One is more of how to get business in and some opportunities in that side and a little bit of a CRM. But on the other side, you've got us, all the marketing tools that we have that's fantastic. So excited about that. Any comment on that, Kimberly?
Yeah, I think everything is amazing. I think one of the things that Brian said was one of his agents had just gotten a $78 discount at Disney. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to Disney, but I've looked and searched and Googled for all my 6 kids or 4 kids, I guess, 6 of us, to have a discount at Disney. I've never found one. So just things like that are huge. But I also think about recruiting with health insurance. Think about that, right? The ability to have health insurance. I spoke to one of my agents earlier, or one of my teammates earlier, and he's got about 400 realtors on his team, like in his business, in his organization. And realtors don't have health insurance. They don't have group benefits. If they have health insurance, it has to be something outside. And I talked to him about that. I was like, hey, let them get their insurance license, come work with us. It's a natural fit anyway. But now you can say yes. Now you can say, I don't have health insurance as a real estate company, but I do have it through one of our partners. Let's talk about that. So I think it is a huge recruiting piece because it gives people something they don't have access to outside of us. And obviously then they're going to send their business here and be in your world anyway. So I think it's great.
Absolutely, it is. And just real briefly, while we're on this, let me show you one other thing. Hopefully, we're able to pull this up quickly. I believe I'll be able to. There we go. Yeah, obviously the event was fantastic, and I'm going to cut right to the core of what I'm trying to show you. And there's specific bombshells that took place, and that's what I focus on one in a second. The Integrity Partnership was on full display. The fact that we're able to be part of it, but not be controlled by it. The opportunity for equity looms large. The triple diamond trifecta, which means that 3 new people earned that blue jacket, which was at there over 2 million, which is just so exciting to have that happen there. And then you got the super trip, which is a trip to Europe, which is taking place the beginning of September. RMD Academy is coming up into the spring of 27. Top Gun's upon us, guys. Listen to me carefully. It is going to be talked about in every event. We're going to triple the amount of people at least from the team that I'm responsible for, that we are responsible for here to be at Top Gun. It's going to be in Orlando, the 21st to the 23rd, a little later in the month, and it's going to be at the Hyatt Regency.
I want
The
to say
Hawaii,
something about that, Jody.
yes, absolutely.
It's never going to be any cheaper to register for Top Gun than it is right now. If
Right.
you're serious about your business, if you're in business for yourself, if you really want to do all the things that you say you want to do, register for Top Gun. Put it in your WhatsApp group. Stand up as a leader and say, hey, I'm committed to this business. I'm committed to myself, and I'm committed to you. Because that's what people are looking for. As leaders, if we don't do it first, then our team's going to do it last minute too. And that's no way to run a business. So invest in yourself. Register for it. That's my soapbox.
Absolutely. And right here, this is it. Here's the register now. 21st, 23rd. This is it. Take a picture of this. It's awesome. Use this. Get your team there. If you really want to explode your team, you'll go do this. Now, going back to where I just was a minute ago, you got the Top Gun number 6. Number 7, the Hawaii contest. It started July 1st. Every one of you need to sit down and understand exactly what it takes within this packet right here, all the categories, what it takes, how to win it. Go back and ask us one-on-one how to go win it. Most of you can win it in personal. Some of you got a good shot at base shop. A couple of you at super base. We'll help you go take a look at that. But that started on July 1st. Now going back here, the Integrity Health Plan, which we just talked to you about. The Product Provider Pulse, which I showed you. Our goal of 1 million recruits is alive and well. But look what's in here at number 12 or number 11. You got all the great tools that the great Mauricio is helping us put together, HGI Universe. And I love that they put this in the bombshells for the company. I don't know if you saw this, Mauricio, but it goes through talking
Yes,
about
sir.
the tools we have. So this is exciting. And then, our goal is to have 1,000 new ring earners later on. So I wanted to make sure you understand the power of those tools and that we have them as a competitive advantage. We're early adapters. Coca-Cola got the first mover advantage in a big way. McDonald's had the first mover advantage. There is incredible advantages for being the first mover and first adapter, and we're going to be the first one to use these tools. So, Mauricio, did someone have a question? I don't know. I thought I heard someone, but we'll turn it over to you for the next few minutes just to kind of hit some high points and let them know how important it is that they're on Tuesday nights because we have you train, but also he trains every Wednesday. So that will be this afternoon. And guys, this stuff's fantastic. So Mauricio, thank you. Turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was always great. What a great meeting today. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Tim, and obviously Jody. Well, listen, it is Wednesday, right? And so I want to take this opportunity to invite you to our 2:30 training. A lot of great stuff will be revealed. But just as a teaser today, I know one of the things I always keep thinking about, and maybe you're also thinking about all the time, is how do I increase my activity? How do I, bring in more recruits? The whole products, right? Like last night, one of the highlights, the topics that were most highlighted was that the system really is a game of mastering the first two steps, which is the prospecting and the contacting. And if we really, really master that and we go massively aggressive, even imperfect into that, which is really one of the models that I live by, then the rest of the stuff take care of itself. Because then through the F&A, you'll be able to know what the client's needs are. So I'd worry if I was to have to reset to make a very big push and a big statement here between now and Top Gun, it would really be to master the prospecting and the contacting. And there's a couple of things that are new. Okay, there's two things that are new that are extremely helpful, which I want to show you. Let me just share my screen so you can see this in the 10 minutes we got. Jody, can you allow me to share, please? Oh, I don't know, maybe it's Kimberly who's got the admin, and I don't know. Okay, thanks.
All set.
Thank you very much. So, as Hubert's request, Hegemon Academy is now System Academy. And a lot of people are getting great feedback that love the name. So, System Academy is where you will learn this. Many of you have gone through this, many of you have not. But there's two things I want to make sure that you know. In the approach and contact, we added something called Call for Your Recruits. See, you knew about the academy that teaches you how to call your natural market, and these are the 5 things or moves you must master, right? My analogy has always been if you want to be a champion in any sport, I don't care if it's boxing or if it's soccer, you've got to know some fundamentals. And the fundamentals in the prospecting and contacting are how am I going to approach these people? And these are scientifically proven methods to be effective in reaching out. If you just want to wing it and just call somebody, make an invitation, I mean, that's probably a lot better than doing nothing. But if you want to really win, these 5 moves you should know because everybody is a little bit different on your list. Now, this is for you to know how to contact somebody. And if you want to be the one calling on behalf of your people, let's say you have a recruit, hey, let's make a list. Now I'm going to call on your behalf. There's a lot of people that do that. There's 3-way calls. So now we have practice calls for you to know how to apply the methods that work for calling on behalf of. If I was recruiting Kimberly and she built a list of 25, but I don't want her to, burn those opportunities, I'm going to call on behalf of. So I can do the third-party edification, the favor frame strategy, the credibility transfer one. And you have the full script right here that you can train on or you can read about, learn about, and then come train. Now, the practice calls here is going to be different than the other because here you are now learning how to speak to Denise or Tony or Marcus as if they were people on the list of the person you recruited. So you are calling on behalf of them, if that makes any sense. So either, yes, being self-sufficient, knowing how to contact somebody is critical, but also learning how to call on behalf of your new recruit is also as important. So this is new. Go there, use it, go there, practice it, because in reality, if you think about it this way, sometimes we're thinking like, oh, well, I don't have someone to talk to. If you have a recruit or 2 or 3 or 5 recruits and they made a list, you have 100 people, top 25, you can actually call. And if you know how to call on behalf of the agent, on behalf of the new recruit who hasn't yet built the confidence to make those calls, right? Then that's a way for you to know how to call on behalf of them. So now you have it all. Now you have both of them there. Go practice. You're not going to get any good unless you are actually executing and practicing. So I don't know what else you would need other than the cold market strategy. There's another beautiful thing that we have added to the cold market mastery. In Vegas, I was practicing what we preach. In other words, I wanted to see of the methods, which of the methods would be a better opener, a more elegant opener, a more effective opener. And the way, in the end, what you're doing when you are going about your day and you see somebody, you open them, whether that's the person serving you, the person you take your laundry to, I don't know, whoever it is. So you're at the library, at the school, wherever you are in the in that place, you can learn how to do that. And so if you actually go and execute, what will happen to you, and I can tell you this from experience, you just get every open you do, you get more and more confidence. And I know these are some images I'm going to show you right now. These are some on my phone. Hopefully you can see. You may know this guy, Brad Lee. happened to be at the Convention of Champions in Las Vegas. I went to Cosmopolitan. I wanted to try one of the restaurants. I saw that had good ratings. Brett Lee is coming out of a restaurant with the entourage. Some of you may not know who he is. Some of you may know who he is. He has a very big podcast. Um, and anyways, the bottom line to this is that I use the opener, one of my favorite openers, which is the One Stranger a Day opener, which if you haven't heard that, I actually added to the playbook inside my networker. You scroll down, if you downloaded this, it has something here called Mauricio's opener. I know you can't see it, which I can share. And it shows you that One Stranger a Day opener. It's very effective. And I use that opener to open Brett Lee. And I think he was like so, because you could see it in his face. He was just so, it was shocked and impressed as the way that I actually went and introduced a bypass security, anti-security guards and all that. But it was just the way that I executed on the opener that led to him asking for my number before I could actually go and ask for his. And so we're exchanging here. And trying to arrange a meeting to see if he'll come on board. Now, I don't know if he'll eventually be recruited, but the point I'm making is the 2 hours before actually taking the flight back home, I opened 3 people right at the Cosmopolitan and then 2, 3 more people back at the airport. And all of these are in my networker, which since we have 8 minutes, I'll just show you.
Mauricio, why don't you
Yeah.
have Sandra tell her story about using the practice AI?
Say again, Jody?
Let's see, why don't we have Sandra real quick give her example of using the practice tool?
Yeah, Sandra, if you are here, I think there's a great crowd today in this Wednesday. So I think your story is it's one of several, but yours is good because of, I guess, the caliber of the individual. But go ahead, yes, please share if you don't mind.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I use Hegemon Academy. I try to use it all the time, and I really enjoy it. I actually feel the Duolingo part thing that you do your activity is very, very, very good. But one day we were at the office in Weston, and they decided that they wanted to do an AI, that we wanted to use the AI tool that we have in Hegemon, in which you talk to, you make phone calls to an AI and you talk to the AI. So you pick the ones, if it's going to be your brother or your sister or a salesperson. Somebody that is difficult will be a salesperson. Somebody that is easy it's a sister. So I decided, before that, we said, before we make the real calls, we're going to use your AI, right? And when I started, I had already made that week a decision that I wanted to make phone calls of people that are very important in my life, and they know network marketing. So I started working with the AI. I mean, we did like maybe 4 or 5 times talking to the AI. Hey, hi, how are you? And the AI answers you back. Hi, how are you, Sandra? How can I help you? And I said, oh, I want to make appointments. I want to make an appointment with you. The AI will fight you. The AI will tell you, why are you taking me? What are you doing? So it's very difficult to use the AI because you're kind of fighting, but it's an AI. So at the end of the day, you are using the AI to be like your punching bag. So after using it 4 or 5 times, I said, okay, I'm ready to make phone calls. I stepped out of the office in Weston and I said, I am going to call my friend Bob. And Bob is a person that has been doing network marketing for decades, for 3, 4 decades. And I said, well, let's see if he answers the phone. It's Saturday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He was in Utah. His time, I said, well, maybe it's 11. So I think it's a good time. He answers the phone and I said, hi, Bob. And he's like, oh, hi, Sandra. And I said, nice, you're calling me nice. And I said, are you busy? When you're calling somebody that is very important, you always ask them if they're busy, right? So I said, are you busy? And he said, yes, I am very busy right now. I'm going to step into a stage in about 2 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. I said, no, it's okay. Whenever you have some time, just call me back. And he said to me, if you're calling me right now, it is because this is something very important that you want to tell me. So I want to listen to you. So let's arrange for an appointment. Usually I don't call him. I only call if it's necessary. And I do mostly that to people. I don't call people from out of the blue just because, I know people are very important, that are very important, are very busy. So he arranged Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning, his time in Utah. We had a Zoom meeting for 45 minutes and it was just amazing. And what I like about the AI tool, it's that it just got me out of that fear that we have with them when we make that phone call. If you do the AI first, what I had as a feeling that day, it was like, if I can fight with the AI and it's answering terrible to me and is not being nice to me, a person that loves you, a person that is nice to you, is going to be able to answer the phone nicely, like Bob did to me. He answered the phone and he said, "Hey, how are you, Sandra?" So the feeling was, I was coming from something very not natural, which was the AI. I was like, oh my God, to a person that loves you. And that's the feeling that we have to have. We don't make phone calls because we are getting into our head and we don't think people are going to answer the phone call or they're not interested. But as I see, Bob came even to Vegas because I made that phone call. And Jody keeps on talking to him and arranging things with him. And it's nice to have that fear go away because we have a tool that Mauricio created for us, which is the AI.
Thank you, Sandra. Maurizio?
Thank you. And I think that's exactly what it is, and not just on the calls with people we know. Maybe an even higher level of complexity is approaching a complete stranger. And it's a 10-second skill that you have to do. All these opportunities are 10 seconds at a time. You let that pass by and you've lost the opportunity. So it's just like what happened, at Cosmopolitan, moving target. So Bradley's moving around. I had 10 seconds to execute. But when you know how to go in, then you go in with so much confidence and you know exactly what you're going to say, how you're going to overcome whatever the objection is, and how you're actually going to navigate the conversation to get the outcome that you want. But you've got to know how to do it. And that's what the System Academy teaches you to do. Now, one thing here in the last 4 minutes that I want to share with you, and I will dive deeper at 2, is this is where you train, and then you actually go to use technology. So you train, this is the gym. You come here, you train how to do the approach contact, how to do the openers, like I always say. But then you're gonna need to, after you open somebody, you're gonna need a little bit of technology to make your life a little bit easier and easy to also connect with people. So inside of CRM and sales, inside of Weblet, you can activate your networker. This is coming in Spanish in the next 48 hours also. So what it is that you create this page that lives on your cell phone. It literally lives on your cell phone. And what you can see here at the top, there are ways you can actually collect information. Yes, you can type it in, the information from somebody. You can scan their business card. If you scan the business card, then all the information is automatically captured, because it's 3 things you need is the name, email, and phone number. Almost 99% of the cards have a name, email, and phone number. If they don't have a business card, you can type it. If you don't want to type it, you can tap it, meaning you can tap your phone, just like when you tap the phone and information just transfers over. You can share a QR code for them to actually put the information from their phone to your phone, and you can also speak it. So this is for cell phone. I don't know if it would work here, but let me try here. I've not done this before, but let me see. Hey, so I met Kimberly Odie at a convention of champions in Las Vegas. Her name, what's your phone number? I mean, not your name, but what's your phone number, Kimberly? Let's say she said something like, well, my number is 630-361-4637. And her email is kimberly@hgi.com. And so we agreed to have a virtual coffee to explore how we're both going to help each other here grow. So when you create something like that, just by speaking to it, it captured Kimberly, phone, email, and the contacts. Virtual coffee, ready to go. So When you do it on your phone, when you do it on your phone, it gives you the emails and the text message. You can just send right away. So it starts to follow. So you can tap it, you can snap it, whatever it is. You can talk it or you can tap it. Whichever way is easier for you to get the information to then go and continue the conversation. And what I love about it is once you actually have them on your list, if you just go there, let's say you go there, here goes to home, you go to your connections, you can see Malia and Camila, they clicked on the link already. They opened the email a day ago. So it tells me Malia has opened the email 3 times. So they are opening, engaging, I can call, right? Or I can do the follow-up. These are my 8 people that I need to continue reaching out with. So I'm 2 days overdue on texting this person, Malia, so I can have the AI draft my message and basically just send either the WhatsApp or send the text message or call. But I don't even have to draft the message. It's drafted for me, and I can type additional things if I want to. But it's that fast because it's just how easy it is to follow up with the people. And again, inside of the what do you call it? Okay, let me go to home. Inside of the playbook, you now have an opener coach that you can ask, like you can tell them, hey, I'm about to approach this particular person. What's sort of a best approach? This is your rescue AI. Like if somebody gives you like let's say you try to open somebody and they gave you a certain objection that you had not yet encountered, it will help you rescue. It'll train you in real time how to prevent that objection from preventing you to have success. And I added Mauricio's opener. I like this one. The Daily Stranger opener has been one of my favorite ones. That's why I have it there more than anything. It works like almost in any situation. So this is a good companion that's with you 24/7 after you've learned how to do this. So this is your let's say your sparring, right? And then this over here, what we were looking at just right now, I don't know where it is. We were looking at this is your in your pocket playbook, so you know how to open somebody at any place. And of course, fast moving places like airports and hotel lobbies, no hotel lobbies, but like airports, you have moving targets. You have to know how to slow them down because a moving target, it remains in movement. And it's one of the hardest things to see, but you have walked past people that look super sharp that you wish that the environment created an opportunity for you to be able to exchange with them and then have them, look at what we do. So how do you do that? That's all there. It's all there now. It's all there. So if prospecting and contacting are the 2 main things that will unlock, right? I think there's an unlock and duplication, but there's 2 locks, main locks, I would say. One is you unlock prospecting, contacting, and then unlock duplication. Well, that's them repeating and being effective in prospecting and contacting. The rest of the stuff will just be by inertia, for the lack of a better word. You'll just learn how to present and you'll learn the products through the F&A and all those beautiful stuff. And so another big celebration, and we can wrap it up with this, is I was just looking at, we're about to cross the 600 million assets that have been now discovered through the F&A. So $599 million by the end of the day, or maybe by a day or two, we have crossed $600 million in assets that have been discovered through close to 2,000 F&As. And that's, as we said, is about a $300,000 per F&A on average. Kimberly always talks about lump sum money and monthly money. Well, that's a lot of lump sum money, and then there's also a lot of monthly money. And so we'll continue to work. There'll be some major updates on Abacus that you will absolutely love in terms of simplicity and better communication between any journey you take to produce all kinds of reports once you actually take the F&A. So Jody. Oh, join me at 2:30, by the way, if you want to learn more.
Absolutely. Thank you
Turn it
so
back to
much.
you.
And guys, just as simple as I can tell you is this, is that if you're like, man, I wish somehow I could have Zach and Kimberly with me, or somebody like Caesar who knows this stuff. I wish I could have these guys experience with me on every sales call. Well, you can't. You have to develop your own experience. But Abacus at least creates a bridge to get you closer. If you said, hey, I wish somehow I had Jody's instinct for being able to go out and, to talk to people, or the way Mauricio does. Well, Abacus gives you, not Abacus, but these tools, he just went over and give you that. So it's awesome. And not only that, we weren't born with these skills. It was something that was developed over long periods of time. And that's what you'll be able to go do. So hesitancy is our enemy. You're going to hear me say this like crazy. I want to kick about it right now. Hesitancy is a killer. And I love that word because it's even different than putting off things or whatever. It's just you hesitate, and you can't hesitate. Now, go attack. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Kimberly, and all of you. It was a great day. Look forward to seeing all of you next week. Thursday night's your chance to do something about this call. It doesn't matter unless the raw material is coming in the front door. See you tomorrow night. Get your people on. It's going to be awesome.